Michelle, we've got our special guest.
Are you so excited?
Oh my God. It's Timothy Simons, from Veep. Now you're watching Veep.
I was just telling Tim that off mic that I just started watching Veep. So I'm season 2 into Veep. I've been obsessed with Julia Louis-Dreyfus forever, but it takes it to another step because of the ensemble that is Veep. It's so fucking brilliant.
Now, Timothy, you're from Maine.
Yeah, I grew up in Maine.
Now, when you say you're from Maine, the first line of questioning goes to only one place.
Lobsters?
Cabot Cove.
Cabot Cove?
Oh, it's Jessica Fletcher.
It's a fictional place in Maine called Cabot Cove, and it's where the brilliant Jessica Fletcher from Murder, she sat down and she wrote.
She did own writing.
No, Murder, she sat down and she wrote. How can you be from Maine and not be familiar with Murder, She Sat Down and She Wrote?
Yeah.
I think that I know. I mean, used to watch Murder, She Wrote with my grandmother, and I think I was young enough to not really.
Grandmother. With his grandmother. You heard him just say with his grandmother.
I would watch it with my grandmother.
Okay, she let you have it.
Oh my God!
And I don't think that I don't think I was old enough to really put together that it took place in Maine. I don't know why, because we have such a state pride. Like anything that comes out of
Stephen
Maine, King, like and any actor or actress or director that comes out of Maine, like about them, and you talk about them.
Well, who else is from Maine, Tim?
Who else is down easter?
Dempsey. Dempsey's the OG guy from Maine.
Dempsey?
Yeah,
who?
Patrick Dempsey.
Patrick. I thought it was like
Dempsey.
Jack the
Dempsey.
fighter.
I said Dempsey like we're good friends.
Yeah.
I've never met him.
He's from Maine. Where is he? Is he from Cabot Cove?
No, he's. He grew up in like a terrible town that I think has started to come around, like a sort of like a lot of towns in Maine. It was it was a mill town, and then the mill closed, and it had 40 years of a run of bad luck. And he was from a town called Lewiston that wasn't too far away from where I grew up, and it is now sort of coming back up as it becomes a little more Portlandy, and it's like getting nice restaurants.
Is your family still there?
My family is still there. Yeah, my mom and dad are still there. My sister.
Bangor or Portland?
We are directly in between. So we are in between. I grew up in the most boring place. Like, it's a lovely place and it's beautiful, but it is boring.
It's called Redmond or Reedman?
Reedfield. Yeah.
Reedfield.
So my sister,
and it's not even on the coast, is it?
No, we're inland.
In central Maine.
Yeah,
how can you be? Why would you be in Maine if you're not on the coast?
I don't know. I think my parents just like the quiet when they moved there, and I don't know. I really don't know.
And you don't have to shave.
You don't have to shave.
No, you can wear Birkenstock.
Well, you need the heat. You need the warmth. It's cold there.
Yes.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
Right.
But yeah, my family's still there. My sister runs a bookstore in a coastal town. So now when we go back and visit, we meet up on the coast with her.
And that's beautiful, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah. She has like a little indie bookstore. It's kind of perfect.
See,
it's very Cabot Covey.
She would know. Yeah, your sister would know about Cabot Cove because
she would.
With Jessica Fletcher being a writer and everything.
Right.
I wonder if I'm going to get a boatload of shit from not knowing about Cabot Cove and not knowing that it was based in Maine.
Oh, honey, this hour isn't over yet. You're yeah, it's not over yet.
Just wait. It's just begun, honey.
So you said that because we were talking about you with Anna Klum's game, we're going to get to Veep. We're going to talk all about Veep.
Oh, yeah.
Because we were talking about you, all of your friends said that oh my God, they were talking about you.
He said, I quote, my phone blew up.
My phone blew up. And including my sister, some friends came over to her house, and it's obviously right now it's massively cold there. They didn't even get their coats off before bringing it up to my sister.
Wow.
Like, that's how excited they were about it. And then in that moment, I got to blow their minds by telling them that I was going to be here today. That was
Did
a
they
big
freak
thing.
out?
They freaked out. Yeah.
Aww.
Well, I saw you at the Sim Awards show over in the distance, and I thought, it's before the whole thing started, and I was just going to run over there and say hi because you're sitting with, you were standing with the black guy from what you call it, and what was it? The
the
Critics'
black guy
Choice.
from What You Call It.
Yeah, the black guy from What You Call It.
Oh, I know him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think Anna was with you at the Critics' Choice Awards.
Yeah. So Sam was there.
Sam Richardson?
Yeah, Sam Richardson. And you should have come over and said hi.
You know what the
I was
thing
a
is,
few glasses of wine in. We would have ended up inviting you to the table.
You know what that's like, though. You get to this thing, and everybody's there, and you're like, okay, I'm going to go see her. Then I'm going to run over here. And all of a sudden, it says, oh, can I take a picture? And it just never happens. It's like,
and then you look over and they're gone.
They're gone. It's this weird dream-like thing, you know.
Especially like it's still somewhat overwhelming to go to those things. Like I remember like the first time that we ever got to go to anything Emmy related. Like the very first year we got nominated for an Emmy, and Steve Buscemi was there, and I don't think I've ever been so starstruck in my entire life. I never thought that I would actually be able to get to speak to Steve Buscemi. Yeah, and I haven't really lost much of that. It's very overwhelming to go.
Oh, but you will.
No.
Oh, but you will.
You might not, Tim. You might not. That's the joy of you, I think, and I think that's what makes you so sweet and so lovable and so special. Is you have this kind of boy quality to you. That's young boy quality. That's really, really sweet.
It's honestly, it's just me not wanting to grow up absolutely in the bad ways. I want to have no responsibilities. I want there only to be jokes. Yeah, I'm a child. I
love that. I love that.
I think the world should be only. The world is a joke.
Currently,
the world is a joke.
It's not a very good one right now.
No, it's not
a very good joke, but it is a joke. And it's the only. I was just thinking recently that why did I give up alcohol?
And I go, why did I never start it? I'm not kidding. Yeah. I had a dream that is so funny, and it was last night. I had a dream that I was like drinking out. This is a big deal for me because I don't ever touch it. I was actually like a drinker. Like I'd come home, I'd drink alcohol, and I remember I had to get my makeup ready, and it was like 15 minutes, and I'm like, I can do this in 15. Like I couldn't get my makeup done in time because I was too busy drinking like whiskey.
Really?
And I felt very good.
Have you never been a drinker?
No, never, ever in my life.
Okay.
And I just don't enjoy it. I don't like the control thing, losing control.
Yeah.
And I actually enjoyed it in my dream. And with everything that's happening in this world, if I can just tolerate the taste, which I hate, I might just push through it just to get that moment of glory.
That's like somebody that wants to smoke weed but doesn't like smoking it, so they go to edibles. Like you need to find an
Is
alcohol
there an edible alcohol?
Yeah, we need to find
Could
that.
Could it be chocolate filled with liqueur? Could that do it? Because alcoholics would kind of do those, wouldn't they?
Liqueur? Like
liqueur chocolates. I think that you can. If you drink enough.
Some of them have some real serious alcohol in them. But what you just said reminds me of a quote from LaToya Jackson.
Please enlighten us.
Where they asked her what her favorite food was, and she said, "Well, I like sushi, but at the same time, I don't like fish."
That's me totally. That's me totally. I want to get drunk, but I don't like alcohol. I want to get high, but I don't want to smoke weed.
Yeah. Now, do you drink, Jonah?
Sorry, called you Jonah. Tim.
It's all right. It's all right.
I did say Jonah.
There are probably 4 people in the world that can get away with that. You're going to be one of them. You're absolutely on the list of people that can get away with that. No, I think I was never really a big. I was like, I don't know, like I got drunk in college and
on moonshine.
On moonshine,
or Everclear.
Yeah.
Jello shots.
Yeah, like all the dumb college stuff that you do. I did that, and I really liked. I'm a big fan of hallucinogenics, but but like at a certain point, I wasn't much of a day-to-day drinker. I wouldn't just like ever come home and have a beer. And then recently, like within the last 2 years, I started drinking red wine, and it's been bad. It's like that is the most delicious thing. Yeah. There's a reason that's been around for thousands of years.
Well, you can say the resveratrol. I mean, you could use it for your heart.
Yeah.
Does your wife also drink red wine?
No, she drinks white. So like it has become like, but it's like nice to have a glass of wine at the end of the day. But when that turns into like 4 just because it's delicious, that's when it gets to be like, so you guys cool it out a little bit.
Turn into George and Martha from Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
Clink, 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 clink.
Clink, clink.
Clink, clink.
Clink, clink. But that kind of sounds fun, though, in a way. There's something so romantic about being a drunk.
Oh, there is.
Yeah.
I do every once in a while when you are like opening a second bottle, you're like, I could see this. I don't know. Let's see if the jacket fits.
When you're opening a second bottle.
Second bottle.
Of a $2 chuck.
Yes. And that next pack of Cool Filter King.
Hey,
and it's just.
Yeah.
No,
Were you ever a smoker? Did you ever smoke?
I did everything.
Okay.
Everything. This is the thing. We talked about this. RuPaul has too much sensitivity on things. So as a kid, I gravitated to whatever I could do to anesthetize the feelings.
Yeah.
So I started smoking
You
weed.
can say anesthetize, but you can't say precarious.
I can't say it gets caught at it just gets caught there. Remember how you
just spat out anesthetize.
Yeah, but you remember it because that one rolls
like
off the
choreography?
tongue. Yeah, you remember you taught me how to say shit.
Well, I'm a good teacher, aren't
No, but
I?
it's a turn. There's a turn there.
Choreography. Choreographer. Yay!
But you see, there's still some hang up in there.
Yeah.
Choreographer. There's something getting
because you want to say choreographer.
Wait, shit.
You got it. Choreographer. Yeah.
Choreographer. And I said anesthetize. That one is easy. But what's the other one I couldn't say?
Precarious.
I think people would get the gist, though. If you just said the first half of that word with confidence, everybody would be like, oh, he just said precarious. Like, everybody would believe you.
Is another word that does it.
Or they might walk around being like, I don't know, RuPaul says precur.
Maybe I'm saying it wrong.
Maybe that's the cool way of saying it.
No, I use whatever I would use. I did everything, and I've been sober now for in August of this year. It'll be, I think, 18 years.
Oh wow! Congratulations.
18 years.
Painstaking.
But no, don't. Before you congratulate me, I am seriously. I'm serious. And I probably need to go and see my friends. Wink, wink. But I'm really considering.
No, I'm not going to
weed.
let you. I will come sit at your house.
Acid. All my 20s, I did acid once a week in my 20s. Like awesome. 4 tabs a week. And then I smoked from
You just said once a week and you went to 4 tabs?
No. 4 tabs
all at once?
Once a week. Because, you
build up an immunity?
Well, I guess. I just, if one can do the trick, what will 4 do?
Yeah.
One time, me and my friends lost acid at a grocery store.
What do you mean you lost it?
I was in my pocket. My friend of mine had come up to visit.
Is it a paper like ecstasy is?
For me, in my day, it was a little dab of paper.
It's a little piece of paper.
Like, what size? Timothy, what is that?
I think even smaller.
Like the size of an Altoid sugar-free mint.
Yeah. Okay.
And they were in my pocket. We had gel tabs at that point. That was like a thing at that.
What's a gel tab?
It was
Explain.
I think it was just like the same size thing, but it was made out of gelatin, I guess.
Okay.
I didn't really ask. That's a question I should have asked.
Yeah.
But no, it fell out of my pocket at a grocery store, and we were such dumb fucks. We went back to ask, and I kept trying. I went to customer service.
Did you find my acid?
Yeah, but I was like, I'm missing. I tried to say, did you find my acid without using the word acid? I was trying to describe acid wrapped up in tinfoil without actually saying. They were just like these kind of small gelatin tabs. I think they fell out of my pocket.
They're for my asthma?
They were for my asthma. It was so clear we were just 6 idiots trying to find their drugs. And they were like, no, we don't have them. Please get out.
That's terrible.
High school or college, you said?
That was college.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to the University of Maine.
You stayed in
They
Maine.
have a University of Maine.
They do.
They give them lobsters every day.
They do.
Do they have? And you were in the theater department, obviously.
I actually started there. I started there with the idea that I was going to study physics because it was the only thing that I was good at in high school. I was bad at everything else, but physics I was good at. And as it turns out, there is a huge leap between being good at physics in high school and being a physicist.
Okay.
You're kidding.
There was like a gigantic leap there. So I got in like
something new every day.
Yeah. First class, it was clear that was not going to go that way for me. And then I didn't really have much of an interest in theater or anything. And then I just sort of discovered it there by auditioning for it. I had no friends. I was living in a football dorm. I was an arty kid. And I was living in a football dorm and I didn't know anybody. And I was having a really hard time making friends. So I auditioned for 10-minute plays like my first semester. And then by the end of that year, I was full in, had changed majors and changed tracks. Yeah, I got that bug, and then here we are.
Is 10-minute play, is that a theater piece or is that a bunch of 10-minute plays.
Like, were they student written? Were they one acts? Were they?
Some of them were student written.
Yeah.
One of them
Those are
was.
fun.
Oh, so they are little 10-minute plays.
Yeah.
Yeah, just 10-minute and you'll have famous people who have written 10-minute
Did you
plays.
see Lin-Manuel Miranda's 21 Jump Street, which is an 18-minute musical? Yeah.
I've never seen that.
It's
I'm gonna check
adorable.
it out.
Yeah, check it out.
One of the ones that I did was student written, and I think it was about a Vietnam vet who gets killed by a vampire in an alley. It was terrible. Wow. It was
amazing.
terrible. But that was one of them, and I did like 3 or 4 for this directing class. And then, I was just kind of off to the races after
And
that.
then, did you have the sense that you were good at it from that moment?
I think so. I mean, I got Yeah, I don't know if that sounds. I don't want to
not at all.
No.
I mean, I kept doing it. The response was good, and I felt like, even though I didn't necessarily feel like I was the best that had ever managed to grace the University of Maine stage, it was just like, oh, I like this, and this is an outlet for all those things, and I found myself really wanting to get better at it, and to sort of what you were talking about earlier. The community of it was something that I was really drawn to.
Right.
That the teacher that we had was a huge proponent of ensemble work, and I loved that. I really loved that, and so I think that was one of the things that first drew me to it.
And you obviously did some improv work when you were there too, because I feel like Jonah has got so much of just what you have created and pulled out of your ass to make him this amazing, structured, layered character.
Thank you. That's a really nice thing to say. Thanks. I'm really proud of the work that we do in the show, and I'm really happy with how he's been received, and it's been an amazing experience top to bottom. But I didn't start doing improv till I got to LA.
Really?
I moved. I was just doing straight theater, just straight plays.
Stella.
And then exactly, clink, 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 clink. And then I went to Chicago and was doing indie theater there, and it wasn't until I got to LA that I started doing improv. But I feel like one of the great things about the show is that it pulls from, and you see that in our cast, the style pulls from all of the different worlds that we all came out of. Anna doesn't have, I think, any much of an improv background at all, but it works in our show because you draw from her style of performance. And then Matt, who started one of the best improv schools going, obviously has a huge background in improv, and the show is able to pull from that as well. And then everybody kind of has varying degrees of experience in between those two ends, but it just kind of all works together.
It is just amazing on so many different levels. Not only, we had Adam Conover here earlier, who does the show Adam Ruins Everything, which goes underneath, gets inside of certain ideas that we all collectively have and debunks them, And what I love about Veep is that, and lots of shows that are about Washington, they do the surface charade of the American people want this, and then they do what's behind the scenes, which, if you're in that world, you're like, well, the American people want to suck a dick, or they get it, they get in there, and they don't do the charade, and that's the thing. And then as actors, the writing does that, and then even the actors, you guys are the finest actors money can buy.
100%.
I'm not just saying that, it is the truth. Listen, I'm a longtime Golden Girl watcher. These women on that show, the finest you could. And when you watch it again for the 30th time, you know the words, you know what they're going to do. Watching them set it up and watching how they carefully add this
Nuances,
to that, and boom, that's what's so brilliant.
Yeah.
And that's what Veep is.
And that's what Veep is.
Thanks.
That's what Veep is.
It's honestly a comparison to Golden Girls I will take any day.
Yeah.
That is a perfect television show.
It is.
No, I like seeing and I think I was a little bit rose-colored glasses about politics before going on to the show, and then being able to go to DC a bunch of times and then doing a lot of research about it. I am a little bit more cynical about the political process, but I do like seeing a lot of, you get the sense that especially Selena got into this thing for the right reasons. At some point, she wanted to help people, and that just got stripped away as you realize what you had to do just to get ahead in that world. And it's still somewhat there, and I love seeing the public face and the private face. And this last year was really fun when Jonah was running. Wait, how far are you into it?
Well, just fucking go for it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm only in series 2, but whatever.
Well,
it's been ruined 20 times by Rue anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Please.
So at the end of this past season.
Oh, great. You're really just going right to me.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. Go ahead, Tim. Go ahead.
I end up running for Congress. And I'm sorry to ruin that for you. But you know what? I do think this is one thing.
But
that
that makes sense, though. If you follow the process, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I will say this. When it comes to spoilers and stuff, I feel like we should be able to put our scripts online before you watch them, and we should still be able to make you laugh.
Yeah.
Like with
I agree.
drama,
Yeah.
like it's not so much with that, but I still think you'll enjoy it even knowing.
No, 100%. Words are words. The delivery changes everything.
Yeah. And so I think you'll still like it. But in that run, it was the first time that I had ever had to think about like a Jonah public face.
Mm-hmm.
He's only ever been behind the scenes. He's only ever been able to say the worst thing that came into his head is what he was able to say, and to have to sort of temper that and figure out because obviously Julia and Selena she's so good at the public face and the private face and the switch between those two. It's stunning.
She's a master. It's a master class.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And even then, like the way that she does the thing where she has the public face and you see just like 5% of the private face sneak through in those ways, she's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But to work with that public-private thing last year was really fun. It was like a brand new thing to try to explore last year, which was cool.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Now, we've got Timothy Simons. I keep wanting to say Simmons, but it's Simons.
You're right on, yeah.
With us from Veep and from The Boss, which we loved.
Awesome.
Love that movie. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back after this. Oh, my goodness. I love these beautiful, beautiful websites these kids are making at Squarespace.
Oh, my
Our
God.
listeners are so creative and so brilliant. I just love seeing this.
Yeah, and the funny thing is we wouldn't know what to look for when we're out there. So this is why we love getting the tweets and the emails. So keep them coming in at RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com and tell us and show us your beautiful websites. But you guys, too, can make a gorgeous website in minutes using Squarespace's beautiful templates and simplistic drag-and-drop platform.
Hey, I know a little something about that.
Just a little bit. When you're ready to purchase a plan, get 10% off with the offer code RU. That's squarespace.com, offer code RU.
We are back with Timothy Simons from Veep, which we just love. Now, when Anna Klumsky was here, we talked about the episode called Mother. And after I watched that episode, it was from season 4, I believe. After I watched it, I had to re-watch it and then write down the writers' names because I wanted to have those names in my head.
I haven't gotten to it yet, but so many people tweeted me when it came out that they had fast forwarded or went back to rewatch.
To watch that episode.
Yeah.
And I believe that episode was actually nominated for an Emmy because you want to talk about layers. You want to talk about layers and just nuance. And it was when you read that script for Mother specifically. Did you get it? When you read it, can you get it? Like they go, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yes. In the case of that episode, that one was one, and they all read really well. But I will say this: when I watched how they put that together, like when we do our first table reads, they then go through like a million changes, and so by the time I saw that episode, especially because that one I really wasn't in it that much, so I wasn't on set to see it change. Like we were all in Nevada, and we were doing like the protest thing.
Yes.
And that was like, I think like we shot a half a day or, at most a day. And so by the time I saw that episode, I was sort of with you. It was like the first time that I had seen it. And I remember having to just pause it because there were just some moments in it that were so brutal.
Yeah.
Like that were just brutally funny and brutally honest, and I loved it.
Yeah.
And I know, is that weird to talk about like a show that I'm on? And that
No,
when
it's
I
great
watched
to be
it,
a
I
fan.
felt like I felt like I wasn't a part of that one, so I got to watch that one as a fan.
Do you watch all of them?
I do, because I do like to see, because we have like, we have insanely long scripts, and we shoot a lot of pages in a day, so you never really know. Like since the beginning, half of the stuff that you do usually ends up on the cutting room floor. And so like I want to see sort of what made it in there, and I want to see like what worked. Like what did I attempt in something, and did it land? Did it work? I like watching them for that reason.
No, I'm sorry, Michelle, you had something.
No.
What did you do before that? Because I think that's the first place I saw you. I'm assuming, but once I saw that character and I saw you on there, I felt like I'd seen you my whole life because it rang so true. I know this person.
Yeah.
Before that, like work-wise?
What would I have seen you in?
Like maybe some commercials here or there?
And what was that audition process like for you, knowing that this was a Julia Louis-Dreyfus project, correct?
Yeah. No, it was it was truly the most nervous I've ever been.
I could only imagine.
This was actually the first. I had been in commercials. I had been I was in a scene of this movie that shot in Chicago that got cut before it was even shot. So I had had some very tiny small parts in movies when I was in Chicago. And then, but this was the first television job I ever got. Oh, so I had never
God,
been
you
on
stepped in a good one.
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
So now, when you a while ago, you said in college you got into theater and started doing these 10-minute plays, and you felt it in your bones that that this is where you belong and that you were really good. It's funny, and I've been doing this for 35 years. I felt in my bones when I started acting that I was not very good.
Really?
That I was just
you were great in Tuong Fu. Wasn't that your first one?
Terrible. I basically, I'm being funny here. But I've never felt comfortable in that meeting. Hosting a show or doing something, I feel like, I'm in my body. I'm not nervous. I feel good. I can have fun. La, 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 la.
Yeah.
In acting, I've never been able to release the Kraken in that way. What do you think? What's the key to that?
Release the Kraken.
I love the idea of releasing the Kraken.
Yeah,
me
that being
too.
the shorthand for. I don't know. I feel like I honestly do feel like I'm still.
Oh, come on.
No, I do feel like I'm still learning that, because one thing is that it made one of the great things about being able to doing plays is that you go through them so much that they are in your bones by the time the play opens.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that is that's sort of an amazing thing, but you don't really ever get to have that experience in film. So I'm still trying to find the thing the thing where you can almost trick yourself into thinking that it's in your bones, even though you've never done it before, and you really only have this few hours to get that done. And it's a weird thing. I feel like every job that I get, whatever I've learned from the confidence that you build up from one is sort of somehow not applicable to the next one. I could leave the Veep set feeling great one day, and I could go to a set the very next day and feel like, God, I do not know how to do this.
Because the first day you were on the Veep set, you get the job, you get the audition, 18 callbacks, whatever it is, you finally get it. You're on set for the first day. This is the first time you've ever done it. What do? Everybody on there is so fucking seasoned.
Uh-huh.
How do you feel when you walk in there going, okay, what do I do? Tell me and then what happens when you do, you know what I mean?
I think what I had to do at the time was one good thing was that we had this, sort of, for the pilot, we had this probably 9-day rehearsal period where we were all in this hotel in Baltimore. And so by the end of that period, I felt really comfortable with everybody as a cast. It wasn't like we were just kind of being thrown on set, roll cameras, hi, this is Julia, say hello, and now do this scene. I was still super nervous when we actually shot that first day. And it was like we were in this giant set. It's the first thing that I've ever done that's close to that big of a job, with a legend in Julia and a legend in Armando working on this show. And then, of course, everybody else around is one of the biggest I still am a huge Arrested Development fan. And there's Tony Hale. I just remember having to tell myself that I have never done this before. I have never been on a television show of this size with anybody like this, but I have sat in a room and spoken to 6 people before. That I've definitely done. And I had to just try to focus on that and not think about anything beyond the parameters of that conversation. And it got better as it went on. The nerves got better. But that first day I remembered having to just sort of shrink it down into what am I actually doing? Because that's the only thing that I can really grab onto that makes me feel centered. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. Because I think the thing that we're trying to get at is how do you make that kind of magic happen where you layer a character with even the sort of throwaway things that the character says to themselves, because the Jonah character will say something and then he'll say something under his breath. Mm-hmm. That actually is the more important thing of what he's doing.
And is that written?
I think a lot of it is, and they're definitely there. They do give us an opportunity to loosen things up, and some of those moments might come from that. I think one thing I've always tried to focus on. Where are you again? Because I don't want to give. There's another thing.
John, no, please be uninhibited.
Yeah.
Like I get molested in the 4th season.
Wow. Well, Jonah's going through it.
Yeah, Jonah's going through it. So, and I remember thinking, like,
wow.
I think one of the things that the show
Jonah's going to win the Congress. He's going to win.
You'll see. You'll see. God. I think one thing I've always tried to do is root whatever insane thing he's doing or saying in a truth for him, and hopefully that comes across to where it's so you don't have that little thing, the little aside that he says to himself comes out of like it really means something to him in that moment, and hopefully that's what the people can grab onto. Mm-hmm. That's what I hope, and I think it does help, and sometimes it involves a conversation with the writers about like this butts up against this thing that you've created, like the idea that you've created of what roots that, like what roots it in truth. Sometimes you do have to have a conversation about, can we change it? Sometimes it's even just a word. Mm-hmm. I remember one time last year, it was like such a silly thing, but I was like, I think if he says shorty instead of bitch, that would be it. Like there was something about this one line it had that I was like, didn't ring
true
all
for
the
Jonah.
Awful things he said in that moment. I didn't think he'd say that. And
were they open to that?
They were great about that. We have a really amazing sort of collaborative working environment in that way. But I think that's why, because we've been able to be a part of the process to make sure that it's real. And one of the things, like in Being Molested, a whole scene got changed around because there was like a fight, not necessarily a fight, but like a long conversation about where he would reveal that information to somebody. Mm-hmm. So it was supposed to be on a porch, but ultimately we had to change it to in a car just so we couldn't get away, because we got into a big conversation about how somebody would reveal that. And so I don't know, I think it just goes back to that thing, like just trying to root it in truth for that person, however abhorrent that truth might be. Because
you're justifying it as an actor for your character, and you're going, okay, I have to find some way to root this in truth. I have to find
a reason that he thinks this behavior is okay.
Yeah.
And so I think hopefully that's what people can find.
Yeah. Are you afraid at all that you will be typecast because of Jonah? Because the truth is, Jonah's character, if you haven't seen it, he's someone everybody poops on.
Hey.
Yeah.
He's entitled, not the smartest, and he's not dumb. It's just that his character is someone that people always sort of put down. And
he's pretty despicable, and like so you definitely cheer for him getting shit on. I don't know. I don't think I'm super worried about it, only because I don't know. I feel like maybe there are now so many outlets for like there are just more networks and there are more places to get.
Sure, but even in the movie The Boss, you're playing sort of that kind of a who has loose moral standards.
Yeah,
and I would think casting agents would say, why don't we get Timothy Simons for this, because he does that so well.
I think there's absolutely a danger of it, and I think try the best. I guess I'm going to try the best. I still want to get jobs. Like I would, if it's a good thing and it has a crossover and attitude, like if it's a good job and a good project and it has, like if the Venn diagrams of Jonah and whatever character that is overlap, like I kind of don't care.
Did you say Venn diagrams?
Venn diagrams. I
use
use that a lot.
Way out of our range.
What is
it's
that?
Like the two circles of like,
E equals MC Hammer, right?
It's like the two circles, and it's sort of like
and they come together.
And they come together, and in the middle is the two things. So like, not all people named Jonah are assholes, and not all people in DC are assholes, but every Jonah in DC is an asshole, like that sort of thing.
Right. Right, because you could like say if you got a series where you played the dad, you would be the dad who would be kind of bumbling a little bit.
Yeah.
You know? Maybe a drinking problem.
Maybe a drinking problem.
You know I'd write that one.
Yeah.
Red wine problem.
Yeah, absolutely. Try that jacket on, see if it works.
Because I have a feeling, you know what, you're going to work for the rest of your life. You know that.
I hope so.
You will.
I hope
you
so.
absolutely will.
And you did the interview, didn't you?
Yeah.
What the fuck was that like?
That was insane.
Yeah.
That was an insane period of time. And it was so much fun to film. Like, that's like a great crew of people to be involved
yes,
with. Right.
The Apatow people.
And Seth, and I love James Franco. Yeah. I love him.
I like his brother. I prefer David Franco.
I'm a big fan of Franco's all around.
Yeah,
like, if they got another brother out there, I'm gonna like that Franco too.
And I love
Dave
Chef
Franco's.
Boyardee.
Oh,
really
yeah.
good. Franco-American.
Favorite.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
So you did the but you kind of played that kind of a character in the interview.
Yeah, he was a little bit like, he was like the sort of the subservient, like he will talk unbelievable amounts of shit to anybody beneath him, but is very subservient to anybody above him.
Right.
And I'm fine, like, again, like, that project was amazing. So like, I'm fine if the Venn diagrams overlap in that. But if it is just like, if somebody was like, hey, I'm doing a movie and it's going to be a guy in an office and he says sexually inappropriate stuff, it's not necessarily, I'm not going to necessarily just be like, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to just try to search it out. And I think I have said no to some things that are like too close, that are just clearly like, hey, can you do that thing over here? Mm-hmm. And I think I've said no to some things like that, just to try to make sure, just to try to like to head it off at the pass as much as I can.
That's where you and I are different.
And when you're so good at something, why not roll with it? If he's going to get all those roles, he's, like you said, he's going to work forever.
Oh, and by the way, Venn Diagrams is Vin Diesel's production company.
Oh,
yes,
right.
I just made that up.
Makes sense.
So now this character. Now we're going to take a break in a minute, but this character that you play, you know, and you do it well in all three projects that we talked about. The Boss, which is fabulous.
I love that movie.
Oh, I love that movie so much.
I just could not stop trying to figure out how the fuck that turtleneck.
How it played into the scheme.
I heard you talking about the turtleneck.
Did I talk about it already?
Yeah.
Like, because the hair goes over the turtle.
Yeah.
Was
Because
it double shit?
Well, see, this is the thing. Was it? I thought it was going to be part of the plot. Where at the end, she says, and you know what? For once and for all, I'm going to take off this turtleneck.
Was she hiding a goiter?
No, I think I don't know that
character
she
choice?
or
I think
Ben.
it's character choice.
Yeah.
I don't know that she, because her husband Ben directed it.
Yeah.
I don't know that they ever spoke to it specifically. I think she may have just known somebody in her history who wore that.
Right.
And she just, and it was like,
It never came undone. It never rolled.
It never
came undone.
It was amazing.
I was
and she had that
obsessed.
thing where she would then put her hand on her cheek, and it sort of even then accentuated the turtleneck even more.
I could not stop looking
Right.
at it.
Yeah, we're talking about Melissa McCarthy's character in The Boss.
Michelle Darnell.
Yes, which on the plane,
That's what I watched.
I saw it going east, I saw it going west,
Yes.
and I saw it going east again, and I think I've seen it go by somewhere else. It's one of those movies I can add to my arsenal of movies that I can watch for the rest of my life.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's that funny.
She's so fucking brilliant.
That scene where she has the dentist
Yes.
is one of the, I don't know that I've ever laughed so hard.
So hard. It sets the tone for the whole movie.
And she keeps going.
Yeah.
Everybody's dying around her. She's like,
Okay, we're going to take a big break, but I've got so many questions to ask our Timothy Simons here, who plays Jonah on Veep. It's just brilliant. We're going to be right back after this. Michelle, you like reading magazines on your phone?
Actually, It's my most favorite thing to do, like on an airplane.
Because you're in the airport all the time.
And I don't want to touch somebody's skanky-ass magazine.
And you don't have to buy the magazines at the airport.
100%.
You already have them with you on your tablet, everything. Why? Because of Texture.
The Texture app has gone beyond delivering just the magazine itself. They've made it easy to find and enjoy the articles you want to read with daily recommendations. Love that. Exclusive interactive features, videos, and more. And they make magazines easy because one thing I would always do when I bought magazines, and I'm sure you've seen me do it, I call it gutting the magazine.
Yes.
Because I hate when the cardboard, like perfume things, force you open to a page.
I've seen you do it 1,000 times.
Thank you. So I go into magazines and I gut them. I take out all the stuff that stops forcing me open to their ad. And with Texture, I don't have to gut the magazines anymore.
And it's all the popular titles. It's Entertainment Weekly, Vanity Fair, Vogue, every magazine you can imagine, Time Magazine, People Magazine. They're all there. And it makes it so easy for such a small price. We're talking $9.99 a month. That's right. You get over 200 magazines for $9.99 a month.
Now listen to this, Rue. Texture is normally $9.99 a month, and you get over 200 magazines. But if they sign up right now at texture.com/Rue, you get a 14-day free trial.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yes!
That is perfect.
Yes.
And listen, you're going to love this app. It has all the information you know. It's like carrying all these magazines with you at all times for such a low price.
On your phone or your iPad, your tablet, whatever. Plus, Texture was selected as one of Apple's top 2016 iPad apps. Start your free trial now and download the Texture app. Right now, Texture is offering our listeners a 14-day free trial when you go to texture.com/Rue. That's 14 days to try Texture for free. When you go to texture.com/Rue, that's texture.com/Rue.
Now, okay, we've got Timothy Simons here from HBO Veep. When does the new season start?
Somewhere in April.
In April.
I don't know that they've officially announced like a date.
Are you
I don't
filming
even know
now?
that I know a date, but we've always come back in April, so I think that's when it's at.
How long does it take to film a whole season?
September to beginning of March, September to February.
That's a long shoot, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah. Okay, so now, when did you realize that that part of your personality that somewhere that lives in you is that Jonah thing? I mean, okay, all right, I'm going to try to put this delicately.
No, of course.
So Jonah is this thing. He's this thing.
He's a dick.
And he's a dick. And he's this dick that we know so well. We all know him so well.
I feel like he's that dick that was abused in school.
Sure.
That everybody picked
Yep.
on.
100%.
You know, total
100%.
nerd and wanted the girls to like him and never did. So he became an asshole as his defense mechanism.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Fair
yes.
enough?
Yeah.
So now where does that live in Timothy Simons?
I think I've always...
Maybe it goes back to the football dorm.
It might go back to the football dorm. I think like anybody else, like, I don't know, like I have a fair amount of Irish ancestry, so I think that the grudges are always going to be there. And you know, you try to motivate yourself for positive reasons, but you also I also definitely motivate myself for negative reasons. And that way, maybe this is unhealthy, but that thing of like, I'm going to be successful just to spite you, person that thought I never could, like that sort of thing.
That teacher that told me I'd never amount to anything.
Yeah. Hey, how about this? Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like that sort of thing. I don't know. I've always been attracted to the idea of confidence without skill. That I just think is funny, and I think he's definitely into that. But I think that I don't necessarily think that my day-to-day life is spent responding to things in the way that he does, which is like the sort of that pettiness, like that, like, oh, you rejected me. Well, fuck you, you're ugly thing.
Yeah.
Like. I don't live my day-to-day life like that, but I'm aware that exists. And I think that is in everybody, and we just have to have our just better nature takes over. Right. And so I think it's just mostly all the things he does are you just never let your better nature take over. You kind of go, he leads with a lot of emotion and a lot of hurt and then he just... And so he just responds to everything that way. Like everything's a slight. And like, oh, you don't think I'm good enough? Trust me, I'm good enough.
Right.
I'm good enough. Like
so now if someone wrote a script where it showed a part of your personality that was the sweetest part of you, the mellow wine drinking, that part, sweet. Yeah. Would that resonate as much for us? Can you pull off that to the extent that we see the Jonah that we all grew up with?
That I don't know. Like I think so.
It hasn't been asked of you yet,
I
has
haven't
it?
been asked of me
What's
to
your
be
dream
super
role?
nice
I mean, you
yet.
did a lot of plays and stuff of existing movies, like say maybe Chevy Chase movies, or I don't know how old you are, so I'm trying to do a reference.
That's really.
Is it really?
Chevy
Yeah.
Chase.
What movies? What existing movies do you think? Oh, now this. If they remade this would be my star vehicle. This is where people would see who I really am.
I think I was the first thing that popped into my head was I hope I don't know why this pops in. It's like I just hope whatever it isn't shot in the cold, because I would just I think about things like The Revenant and I think about things like Fargo, and I'm just like, God, it must have been so cold out there.
So cold. But you're from Maine.
I know, but I was never able to handle it.
You were hanging out in cranberry bogs.
I think like when I bring up Steve Buscemi, like that was
Massachusetts
by accident, because I think that the things that he's been able to do in his career are so varied and so cool, and you always get a sense of him in the characters that he plays, but they are all distinct from one another.
I agree.
Mm-hmm. And so I that's sort of the thing that I love. He's always worked and
I knew him from indie movies. Like when I grew up loving Steve Buscemi, it was because of all the independent films that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Catherine Keener and all them. That's why I loved
like
that.
Living in
Lily
Oblivion.
Tomlin.
Like
loved
that,
Living
like
in Oblivion.
That sort of world is that's sort of what I grew up with as well, and I love that sort of thing. And
I said Lily Tomlin. I meant Lily.
Lily Taylor.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you.
One of the things, I don't know if you've seen it. I was in a movie that came out this year called Christine. And
right, the suicide. I didn't see it.
Not the car that wants to attack.
No. This Stephen King.
Christine Chubbuck was a broadcaster in Miami or Tampa.
The murder.
Sarasota.
Sarasota, who's the first person to on live TV.
Yes.
Yeah. She went to Paris on live TV.
And
I remember that.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing, like that movie is the kind of thing that I grew up with. It is in that sort of very indie world, but again, like an incredible ensemble of people, and Rebecca Hall's performances in it is amazing. And like that was one of the things where I watched that movie and I was just really happy to be
What
in something
character do you play?
That.
Is it anything like Jonah at all?
A little bit. A little. There are moments of that in there where I play the weatherman of the station. And in doing some weatherman research, it turns out that weathermen are sort of universally, people roll their eyes at weathermen. Like they're always a little bit maligned. They are probably the only people there that have a degree in what they are reporting. Like if you're a meteorologist, you went to school to study weather. Like the anchor is just some guy with nice teeth who can say things well.
Sure.
But so they always
and it ain't
feel
even real teeth.
Maligned. Yeah, like a little bit maligned and just weirdos that they kind of keep off in the corner. So in that way, I think there's always going to be a part of me that is the weirdo that they keep off in the corner. But that's just me. Like I am physically a very odd person.
Well, you know what? I said Chevy Chase early because if I were your agent, or if I were going to bankroll the star vehicle for you, I would probably do something like Fletch,
I love Fletch.
But I call it Felch. Yes, that's the only change.
I saw your mouth going.
That's a totally different movie.
That's a totally different movie.
Because I have to tell you, Andy Bernard, what's his name? Andy Bernard from The Office.
Ed Helms?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was great in the remake. I thought the remake of Vacation was good.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, they did a good job with it. But I could see him doing something like that too. But Fletch, he'd be even better.
Yeah,
in Fletch.
If my agent is listening to this, find out who has the rights to Fletch.
Yeah.
To Fletch, and he did a bunch of movies like that. And I'm trying to think of some other ones where I
watched Funny Farm over and over again when I was a kid.
Another great movie.
Yeah,
another great movie. Now we're going to take a quick break, but I want to bring this in before we go to break. Is that there's another element. I think I talked about it with Anna Klumsky. There's another element to what makes Jonah such a fabulous character, is that you are a foxy motherfucker. You are
Ruth type to a T.
Yeah,
and how tall are you?
I'm 38.
Tall.
How tall?
I'm tall.
38 inches.
I'm 38 inches
feet?
tall. I am 6'5".
6'5".
Everybody on this podcast they're going to listen to me going beet red.
Yeah. No, it's true. And one other embarrassing thing your body shape. you got a nice ass. Too. I'm just going to say that. I don't want you to feel
put it
too
out
bad.
there.
I just
put it
want
out
you
there.
I want you to know, someone who's paying attention, what your assets are. Fletch, gorgeous, talented, ass.
There you go.
Yeah.
Is that 4th out of 4?
I could name a few more if you want.
Just trying to warm it up.
Just trying
right,
to,
cool.
No, it's, and it's not just important. I just needed to get that off my chest because it's actually really true. It's really true. You got a long career, long career, and it's only going to get better from here. But it's important for you to understand how that character, how your energy, what you're working with, how that could fit into the movie business. How do you create that arc?
Yeah.
Because look at Tom Hanks's career. Has he ever done a misstep? Maybe Bachelor Party was not a misstep.
I love Bachelor Party.
But there
that was a hit, wasn't it?
But
Maybe
the man with
Money
one
Pit?
red shoe. The Money Pit was not a hit.
But I loved it. I loved
I
that
did
movie.
too.
thought
I
it was
loved
a
it.
hit,
I
but
loved
loved
that.
the Money Pit.
And The Man with One Red Shoe was not a hit.
I didn't even see that one.
Yeah. Joe versus the Volcano, not a hit.
But I can
still
tell you,
good.
my 14-year-old daughter is obsessed with Tom Hanks. So he does something right that keeps every generation.
Well,
He's
I
a
don't know.
quintessential actor.
Is it the agent? Who does it? Who maps out? You don't just do anything that comes to you.
No, but he gets so good. He gets to a point because you watch Bosom Buddies, you're not thinking about this guy being a movie star for the rest of your life.
Well, but you really, 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 really like him.
And you like Peter Scolari too. But at the end of it, you're going, he's going to be the biggest, win all these Oscars. You're not thinking that. Yeah. So yes, it's an agent or a manager who knows how to go, this script is something you need to read.
Right.
And him instinctively going, this is something I need to do.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So I'm going to talk about, I'm going to ask if you have that person in your life when we come back from this break.
And are you going to ask me if I work out?
Yeah. We'll be right back. Honey, these children are just turning me out with these gorgeous websites. They are just turning it. They go to squarespace.com. They get that offer code with the
10% off.
That's right. And they are living their lives, Michelle. They are living their what?
Live.
That's right. They're creating these gorgeous websites and sending us emails for us to check them out. And they're beautiful, beautiful. Hey, if you've got a website you want us to check out, you've created with Squarespace, send us an email at RuPaulPodcast@gmail.com. I want to hear about your Squarespace website.
Yeah, and we love seeing them and we love supporting you guys. So I've got a letter here. You want to hear it?
I want to hear it.
All right. Hey, Ru and Michelle, my partner and I love the show. And thanks to you both, we set up our Squarespace websites using, wait for it, offer code RU. Though we're both creative types, we've got zero web experience. And this is what you and I talk about because it's so daunting. But these guys figured it out. Thankfully, we found Squarespace dead easy to use and the support super helpful for the tricky code magics. Hope you can check them out. Now, one website is jmalcolmstudio.co.uk, jmalcolmstudio.co.uk, and altprint.squarespace.com.
I love it.
Thank you. I love it.
Brilliant. Hey, guys, when you want to get a gorgeous website going, you got to go to squarespace.com.
Yeah.
You can get a free trial with no credit card required just by going to squarespace.com. Use that offer code RU and get 10% off.
You can't beat a 10% discount.
No, honey, you sure not can. Not no way, no how, no when.
Holla.
Go to squarespace.com.
Offer code RU.
We are back with Timothy Simons. I was asking him if he worked out before the break, but I'm gonna ask you about who is mapping out your career. We talked about the movie Christine, which came out last year, starring Rebecca Hall. It's all about this newscaster who's very, I guess she's depressed and she commits suicide on live television.
But she had been. I remember it being 6 years old. I think when it happened. I remember my parents talking about it because it was everywhere. You know.
Yeah.
But she. I mean, no, we don't have to get deeply into it because it was about the movie. But she had been telling them for a long time that she was dealing with depression and blah blah. And she was in Florida, I think.
Yeah, she's
and they
Florida.
weren't listening to her. And finally, she's like, I want to do some pieces on suicide. Boom. That's where it went.
Right. How'd you get that role?
That one, I was actually shooting The Boss in Atlanta, and one of my agents sent me the sides to it and just said, this director is amazing. If you haven't seen his movies.
Who's the director?
A guy named Antonio Campos, and he's fantastic. He works with a company in New York called Borderline Films, and their stuff is incredible. And he had directed a movie called After School and one called Simon Killer, and they're both fantastic. They're both like very meticulously paced, and they're both very dark. Like he deals with very dark subject matter, and the story of it was fascinating. I think everybody knows that story, even if they don't know Christine Chubbuck. They just understand that it happened at some point. And they asked me to put myself on tape for it, and I sent the tape away because I couldn't get in to meet with them or anything.
How often have you done that where you didn't get what big roles did you miss out on where you did that?
Oh, where I like sent a tape in? I mean, honestly, when I'm sending a tape in, half the time I'm thinking like, just nobody's ever going to see this.
Yeah.
Like,
you feel like nobody's going to see it.
Yeah, you feel like you're just sending it out into ether. And this is like one coping mechanism that I have, is that as soon as I send them away or as soon as I leave an audition room, I do my best to to clinically detach from that whatever it was, that I will never think or speak of it again.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way. So I mean,
because at that point it's out of your hands.
At that point, it's out of my hands, and if I spend any time thinking about it, I'm just going to be miserable.
Yeah. Do you audition well?
I think I audition okay, and it depends on if I give myself. If I just say like, just have fun and just make a choice and have fun, and if I don't do that, if I overthink it, it just sinks.
Yeah.
It just sinks.
What kind of technique in acting do you do? You know, some people have method, or they do
Meisner.
What all that? Do you have any of that stuff?
No, I never. I don't adhere to any one particular one. I think I've sort of picked pieces here or there, but mostly the thing that I go to the most is script analysis, and then I sort of work from that out. Like some people do outside in, they decide the physical first, and then they let that inform the emotional part of it. And I think I try to get if I feel like I have a handle on the emotional parts of it, then I can let that decide the physical part.
So you do script analysis. So how do you remember your lines? So script analysis. So you write it out in your own handwriting.
Well, in that's remembering the lines is just at this point, like, although I am getting older, it's harder. But like that, I just try to figure out like the want from beginning to end. Like what is the
goal?
What is the goal of this? And then honestly, that really helps with the memorization, because once you know that, then it all just kind of clicks and it makes sense. And then you can just kind of drive toward the thing that you want. And then whatever you're saying, you can attach it to that, and it's much easier to memorize.
Right.
So that's sort of how I go in with it. But
right. So who is mapping out your career, or is it you? Is it your wife and you with a couple of bottles of wine? I'll have the white wine, honey. I'm gonna have the red. We gonna map this.
Hello, my lady gonna have the Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, we gonna map this motherfucking career out.
I don't care where your career goes. If you can afford me a $60 bottle of wine, then we are getting.
Wow, that's a good bottle.
We don't do that all the time.
Oh, wow.
I don't have that career yet. No, I think I
go to the bottom shelf.
Oh God, just whatever is down there.
Yeah.
I think it's we now have kids, so there are.
How many kids?
I have two. I have twins that are 5 years old.
Do you know who the fathers are?
The mother?
He's a very nice man. He's our next door neighbor, and I thought that once the blow up happened, I thought that he would have the good sense to leave, but apparently he wants to be in their life. So
how dare he?
I know, but whatever. Who am I in the way to stand in front
boy
of some
twins,
between
girl
some
twins, one
of
of each?
One of each.
Oh my!
Yeah.
Oh, boy and a girl.
Boy and a girl.
5 years old.
5 years old. So financial decisions are now more important than they were when I was younger.
Right.
Before that, so that's a part of it. But I think that the people that are guiding is me. I have my manager Ben, who I've worked with since just before I got cast on the show, and then I've been with the agents I've been with since the beginning of the show. And we're just, I don't know, like a lot of this stuff is, I think outward. Like I would look at Tony Hale when we started on this show, and I think Tony Hale's got it made. Like he never has to audition again. He never has to worry about like the sort of day to day, like where is that next job coming from? And you meet Tony, and it's like, oh yeah, no, like I still have to do that. And so a part of this conversation is like I have to take the opportunities that I can get. You know, it's not just me making the decisions on everything, but I do before. I've never been able to do it before the last couple of years, but I have said no to some things. And I think it's sort of just like trying to figure out like, well, what don't you want to do? And you can go from there. Whereas like for the 13 years I was trying to get jobs, the answer is yes to every single thing. It doesn't matter.
13 years.
13 years. Like coming out of college, I was
Before Veep.
Before Veep. Like just in Chicago, the answer is yes. Like whatever it is, if you're gonna pay me for it, the answer is yes.
I think you said something very profound there, Tim, and it's this. A lot of people, and you and I have talked about this countless times on our podcast about, visualizing what you want. A lot of people believe in vision boards and all this stuff. And, you can manifest it better if you know exactly what you want. Be specific. But I think it's important, almost, if not more important, to know what you don't want.
Yeah.
And people forget about that part. Because a lot of times it's harder to get to what you want if you don't know what you don't want.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
And I do think that there is I do think that there is, and I guess knowing what you want might be a little bit easier. Like, but yeah, like just saying like, no, I don't want to do that. Like that's something that like if I had like 10 years ago, if somebody was like, do you want to do X over here? Absolutely. The answer is yes. I don't care. I need work. This is what I want to do. But now, like, if it is like, I don't like that joke, and especially in comedy, and you'll see it, like you'll read things sometimes, and you're like, I don't want to be associated with that joke. And as like Hollywood is an amazing town full of people that are dreams, and it is a diverse town, and there are lots, but like there are still backwards things that happen, and there are times where you read scripts and it's like, wait a minute, the joke of this character in 2016, the joke of this character is that the person is gay.
Right.
That's the joke. Like that's the whole joke. That like
welcome.
And and so there is that thing. Like when I see stuff like that, I will just say like no. Like I don't care. I don't care how big it is. Like if that's the joke, it's not a joke.
Right.
So like it's that kind of thing where it's like either just don't want to do that. Just don't want to do that, or
low hanging fruit.
Yeah, exactly.
So 13 years. It took you 13 years out of college to get this huge job. How long did it take you to leave? So you were in Chicago. How long have you been out in LA?
I came out here in 2000. My wife and I got married in 2008.
In Chicago?
We went back to Maine to get married, but we met in Chicago. And
you made her ass come to Maine to get married?
Yeah. She really wanted. She likes Maine.
We're coming down hard on Maine. We're just Aussie.
It's like
kidding.
a great place, and she really likes it, so she was okay with that. But I think what I made her ask move to Los Angeles. I think was the thing. And when she got out here,
she's
she found
Chicagoan?
that she loved it. She's a Chicagoan, sort of through and through, and so that was a big move for her. But we moved out here. And 3 weeks later, the market crashed in 2008. So we made this big move off a cliff. I didn't know anybody out here. I didn't have a connection to even a commercial agent out here. I didn't know anybody. And then we get out here and just the market crashes. So I mean, you guys remember that? Like it was insane.
I was in it.
Yeah.
I bought my house in 2007.
Oh, for God's sakes.
Oh dear.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. So like that. So I was in Chicago for 6 years.
You came out here, new wife. You came out here. You had some money saved up.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. You got an apartment in Van Nuys.
We
or North Hollywood.
Yeah. We actually moved right to Silver Lake. Everybody that we knew from Chicago was living in Silver Lake.
So you did know people.
We did know a few people.
Just no job prospects.
But no job prospects, yeah.
Got it.
And what did you do for money?
I was a prop runner for the LA Opera. I would sit in a basement and they would come in and be like, hey, you need to go to Van Nuys to pick up a bunch of these things.
How'd you get that gig?
A friend of mine who's one of my wife's friends from college was working there.
Right.
And so stuff like that, like good LA stuff like that, where somebody is just like, hey man, you're new here? Come on over here. I got this weird job for you to do. And then I just did a bunch of odd jobs. I bartended at the House of Blues when it was still over on Sunset, or I was worked catering there. And I had 5 or 6 different jobs. I worked at Social, where it used to be where the Hollywood Athletic Club, that place, I was a cater waiter there. I ran camera for commercial casting sessions. I just kind of picked whatever odd job I could to make sure that we had.
The people that you were working with in the catering or working in the prop storyline, did any of those people hit pay dirt like you have since they?
Some, I haven't seen anybody from the catering gig And like that one wasn't very long. I haven't seen anybody from there. Some of them I think have gone on to do okay. My buddy Moo, who got me the job as a prop runner, he and his buddy Ian now do this thing. They work with All Def with Def Jam, and they do like raps about The Walking Dead and stuff like that. And like that's really funny. Like they've sort of had like. They had one of the funniest web series I've ever seen called Blackie Sack, which is the world's only black hacky sacker. And he gets super rich and it's ridiculous. And so you should definitely watch that.
Super rich from hacky sack?
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to tie together the idea of, I know so many people have come out here to do the thing, but they don't have the stick-with-itness or the luck or who knows what to actually to make it happen. How is your relationship with all the people from Chicago or the people you started out with? How have you been able to reconcile that relationship with your success and they're still sort of trying to go for it?
I think that I think it's like a lot of things. The relationship you had with them before is the relationship that you had with them after, if it was good. Like if it was a strong relationship, then it was fine. And it's not, and like it is like a lot of it is luck, a lot of it is hard work, but a lot of it is luck, a lot of it's right place at right time, a lot of it is timing, a lot of it, and sometimes it is just like the right part finds you. And so I think that there is that thing, like I don't know, like everybody's still after it, and like just because if somebody isn't having success right now, it doesn't mean that they won't ever. Right. And I think that was something I kept in mind when I saw other friends that were doing really well and I wasn't at all, you know, like just trying to keep that in mind. But I don't know, I don't think it's affected it too much. Mostly, honestly, the thing that has affected those relationships the most is children. Like that has affected it the most. And all that stuff happened at the same time, like the show and the kids and all that. So,
oh my goodness.
So that was just like the biggest. So frankly, I mean, like in some cases, like I don't know how it's affected them because I haven't been able to see anybody for the last 5 years. so maybe I think it's going great and they all hate me because I haven't seen them.
Now, if you were to do it all over again, would you do it again? Like the whole move out here it doesn't sound, well, you said 13 years between, getting that big job and leaving college. Would you do that thing again?
I absolutely would. Like I wouldn't give up any of the time that I had in Chicago to move out here any earlier.
Why'd you choose Chicago first?
Good actors came out of there. Good theater came out of there. Like, the thing that I've always said is like if you open up like a Sam French play at the beginning, they always have like the original Broadway cast and they have the cast usually in Chicago that workshopped that play when it first went up.
But you chose Chicago before New York.
I wanted to be a part of like the building of something. I really liked the idea of that.
Do you remember Anna Klumsky was talking about how rich that whole Chicago storyline is? The guy who plays Julia Louis-Dreyfus' ex-husband, apparently he's a legend.
Oh, legend.
In improv world of Chicago. What's his name again?
Dave Pasquesi. And he's incredible. And like watching him improvise, it's stunning how good he is at it. I liked the sort of work. I liked the community that they had there. I liked that they worked and they loved each other. And I went back every summer to play softball with my old softball team until everybody just got old and had kids. And so like that kind of disbanded. But like, I wouldn't trade any of that time to get out here any earlier. And I would definitely do the thing that Chicago doesn't necessarily have a great relationship with Los Angeles. I think they view it as vapid and vain and not very hardworking. And I think if anybody in Chicago is listening to this, that is absolutely not the case. I think, as you know, like people out here work super hard.
But I think the world views Los Angeles that way. Not just like I'm a New Yorker. We're New Yorkers. People definitely like I chose New York over Los Angeles too, even though I lived in New Jersey, so it was like a half an hour drive. But with that set aside, I think we all view Los Angeles that way.
Yeah.
But
it was nice to come out here and find that there were people that were incredibly hardworking in the same way that you thought Chicago was. Those people are here. You have to sift through a lot more bullshit out here, but there are those people here. And everybody, like at least especially agents in Chicago would be like, don't ever go to LA without a job that takes you there. I did it LA in the exact opposite way that everybody told me I should. And I wouldn't do that for a second. I think that there is an aspect of just saying fuck it And if that's like, this is where I wanted to work in film and I wanted to work in television. And this is where that happens.
And it was pre-children, too.
It was pre-children.
Yeah. So it's a lot easier to fly.
It's a lot easier to fly in that way.
Yeah.
So
well, you did make the right choice.
Yeah.
I hope so.
And we're so happy for it. We're all richer for it. Can't wait to see you in the Fletch remake.
In the Fletch
and in the Funny
If my
Farm.
agent's listening, I'll expect that
Money
script on my
Pit.
desk by the
Money
end of the
Pit
day.
remake. A Money Pit remake would be really good.
If it was, because the movie itself was great. I don't know why.
It would be him and Brie Larson in the Money Pit remake. That would be really good.
I do like Brie Larson, but I feel like I'd probably rather see him and Emma Stone, personally.
Are you guys my new agents? Because I kind of love where this is going.
This is good. No, this is good.
We're talking it out.
Because it's all about the female that you could play off of.
Because she's got to be sort of, she can play straight, but
and it's got to be physical. Yeah.
Right. Anna Faris.
I was thinking that too, but she
yeah.
might be a little too tiny for him.
Oh, because he's so tall.
I want someone taller, like a
Emma
Charlize
Stone.
Theron or. Well, I'll have to get back to. I'll call your agent.
All right, let's talk about it. See if she's available.
Well, Timothy Simons, you are just genius. I think you're so fantastic. Thank you for coming
This has
and
been a real
talking
pleasure.
to us.
It's been a real pleasure. Thanks
It's
for having me in.
lovely, and give our love to your lovely wife
And those beautiful
and your
babies.
beautiful babies and everybody over at Veep.
And we'll
I
be
will.
watching you, kiddo.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Well,
Sorry I ruined it.
That's all right. My husband's ruined it 20 times over.
Well, Michelle, you've got some homework to do.
I do. I got to start booking Timothy on his next gig.
And you've got to go start watching the rest of Veep.
Yes.
And until next time, my dear.
Okay, baby.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I get an amen? Can I get an amen? If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen?
And don't forget to subscribe on iTunes.
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell you gonna love somebody else? Amen.